The 1818 first edition of Jane Austen's Persuasion tracks a direct collision between a decaying aristocracy and a rapidly modernizing world. Sir Walter Elliot lives for these volumes. He is a man so obsessed with his own rank that the only book he ever reads for pleasure is the Baronetage, a literal directory of titled families. But that vanity has a price. Decades of maintaining a lavish aristocratic image have drained his accounts and driven the Kellynch Hall estate into crushing debt. To avoid total ruin, Sir Walter has to accept a humiliating solution. He must pack up his family and lease his ancestral home to Admiral Croft, a man who built his fortune entirely through his own service in the Navy. The inherited world of land and titles is going broke. Sir Walter has to cede his physical ground to the exact rising merit-based class he spent his life looking down on. Caught in the middle of this financial collapse is his daughter, Anne. At 27, she is treated as a passive, invisible observer in her own home, her vitality faded by years of neglect. 8 years prior, Anne was engaged to a young penniless sailor named Frederick Wentworth. He had no fortune and no title. A trusted mentor, Lady Russell, convinced Anne that the match was socially dangerous. Bending to that pressure, Anne broke the engagement. The arrival of the Navy on her doorstep brings an immediate emotional threat. Wentworth is Admiral Croft's brother-in-law, and he is returning to their social circle as a celebrated wealthy captain. Anne is forced to sit quietly and watch the man she rejected thrive. She lives every day with the isolating heavy cost of having yielded her own judgment to someone else's advice. The tension spikes when the families converge at a nearby estate called Uppercross. Anne and Wentworth are repeatedly forced into the same small parlors and dining rooms. Wentworth treats her with an agonizing, freezing politeness. He makes sure the entire room knows he is now looking for a wife with a strong mind who will never waver in her decisions. To prove this point, he begins courting a young woman named Louisa Musgrove. Louisa is headstrong and prides herself on refusing to listen to anyone's advice. Captain Wentworth is misinterpreting stubbornness as strength. He is using Louisa's blind confidence as a psychological shield, trying to distance himself from the yielding nature that cost him Anne in the past. The social dynamic breaks when the group travels to the coastal town of Lyme. The stuffy country drawing rooms are replaced by the unpredictable physical environment of the sea. Desperate to prove her unyielding firmness, Louisa leaps from the stone stairs of a seawall. She slips and falls violently to the pavement below. Panic overtakes the group. Wentworth freezes in horror. It is Anne who steps forward, taking quiet, decisive control of the scene to secure medical help. Watching her coordinate the rescue, Wentworth recognizes his miscalculation. He sees that calm, composed capability is entirely different from reckless obstinacy. The disaster at Lyme shatters his angry facade. He is forced to confront the fact that he still reveres the exact steadfast qualities he has always loved in Anne. Look at the massive, sweeping rows of these Georgian townhouses. Bath is a city built on strict hierarchies, superficial vanity, and suffocating etiquette. Here, Anne's manipulative cousin, Mr. Elliot, enters the picture. He begins pursuing her with the sole goal of locking down his future inheritance and cementing his own social status. Wentworth arrives in Bath to find Anne surrounded by this polished society. A sudden, paralyzing jealousy sets in as he realizes she might be persuaded into this proper aristocratic match. Both are now desperate to speak, but they remain silenced by the same social etiquette that originally drove them apart. Waiting for permission to communicate will cost them everything. To win each other back, they have to actively subvert the rules of Bath. The tension breaks in a crowded drawing room. Anne falls into a passionate, seemingly theoretical conversation with Captain Harville about the nature of love. She argues that women possess a unique, tragic privilege: the ability to love longest, maintaining their attachments even when all hope and existence are gone. Wentworth is sitting nearby, overhearing every word. He picks up a pen and shatters social protocol to respond. He secretly slides a letter to Anne. It is a raw confession of his enduring love, declaring that he is half agony, half hope, and begging for a sign that her feelings remain. Anne and Wentworth's reunion marks a triumph of emotional maturity. They prove that knowing one's own mind and maintaining true constancy will outlast the vanity of class and the persuasion of others.